Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Tonight we're going to take a look at whether Qanon could be part of the PSYOP created by the Central Intelligence Agency. Tonight, Wikileaks hinted that Qanon is a CIA covert operation being run to subvert American citizens. Kind of weird, right? Kind of weird. And in one of the posts that, and I'm just covering this from a different perspective, right? I'm just saying. So I started looking up CIA connections to anything Q-like. And one thing was interesting. I did find an article written in 2016 that was called "The CIA's Intel is invested in startups that predict the future." Wow. You talk about a coincidence. You talk about a coincidence. That is a huge coincidence. Huge, like, I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought that an article like that would be written on the premise of what we're talking about tonight? Because I was like, well, I'll look it up. You know, he sent it. I'll just look it up. I can't help what WikiLeaks is dropping. That's not my fault. It's my it's in my best interest to do research, right? So that's what I'm doing. So let's pull this up on the screen here. 1 second here. You know, because we owe it all to ourselves to look up different things, right? We do. We owe it to ourselves to always look up different things. And that's what we do. We look up different things. So let's pull this up. That way you guys can see the article that was written in 2016. Because I don't want people to say, oh, he's lying. He's not telling you the truth. This guy is totally lying to you. So here it is here. It's on my... There it is there. Look, right there. The CIA's Intel is investing in startups that can predict the future. Boom. The CIA is sponsoring tech companies through its venture capital arm in Qtel. Should we be concerned about its motives and possible backdoors? Now, the question theoretically here is the CIA funding online PSYOP operations through an Intel startup? Through an Intel startup. I mean, the articles are there. So I found all kinds of interesting articles on things. And in a Q post tonight, and I'm very critical because now I'm starting to study Q posts. And after WikiLeaks did that, I started studying some of the Q posts that were dropped tonight. So here we have this Q post. Now I'm just doing critical thinking here. Critical thinking. This person asked the question, should we be prepping for some kind of shutdown? No. Reports of power grid attacks 6 months prep should be disregarded. While attacks do occur, we are safeguarded by a black eye. Yes. Added bandwidth and improved performance. Q. Now, CIA has operatives, and it's right on there. You can apply for a job at the CIA monitoring the power grids. So this is all just, is it coincidence or is it proof that Qanon is a PSYOP being run by the Central Intelligence Agency? I don't know. Who knows? But we must always be critical and think, right? So I'm just telling you to be critical and think about this. If you wanted to subvert an administration, what would be the best way to do it? What would be the best way to subvert a population? Get them into something have them follow it, and subvert all kinds of disinformation, all kinds of things that they want done, such as an Iran regime change. An Iran regime change. Why would anybody care about Iran's government? I don't care about it, and neither should you, because I don't. Why would they push for regime change? And they make a good point at WikiLeaks. Why would anyone care about a regime change in Iran? You shouldn't. You shouldn't give a shit at all about a regime change. You shouldn't. Why the focus on the Iranian government? Unless it's a shadow operation being run by the Central Intelligence Agency to promote this so that people are for it when the time comes, when the CIA wants to topple the Iranian regime. Because all the patriots will shout, yes, topple the Iranians, right? I mean, the Iranians aren't good guys, but if you wanted to subvert half the population or part of the population that would make noise in social media, you would do that by getting the people on social media to do that too. I'm just looking at this from a critical thinking perspective, by the way. Also, during the Arab Spring, let's go back. I'm going to take you way back. I'm going to take you back to the early 2000s, 2011. During the Arab Spring, it's been said that the CIA was running the same kind of operation online. It was hyping up the Arab Spring. Why? Because there was a big movement to push a regime change. And all of a sudden, all of this chatter became relevant with the Arab Spring online. Like, online was going nuts, especially Twitter. A lot of you weren't around for that. I was. So all of a sudden, this big regime change was going on in Libya and other places, and these Arab Springs were popping up, and all of a sudden the American government was like, okay, we'll help you. We'll help you, youth of Libya. We'll help you overthrow your government. So critically think for a moment. That's all I'm asking here, is a critical thinking moment. Could the American government, the Central Intelligence Agency, use its own population to overthrow Donald Trump? Could they get you to subvertently do it without knowing it? Could they get you to do things that you wouldn't normally do to make you look a little crazier than you would think? I believe the Central Intelligence Agency would do that. And they would cause trouble. WikiLeaks made a good point. I don't know what they were getting at with it, but I'm just saying, you got to critically think about this. Could they subvert a population? Absolutely. They've done it time and time again. They have done it time and time again in other countries. What makes you think they would not do the same thing here? What makes you think they would not hype up the same thing here? Man, your show has gone crazy. It's no crazier than anything else out there. It's no crazier. Think about it. How easier than it would be to subvert a population by using a conspiracy theory. One man said it best at one time. A man by the name of J. Edgar Hoover. The individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous he cannot believe it exists. The American mind simply has not come to realize of the evil which has been introduced into our midst. It rejects even the assumption that human creatures could oppose a philosophy which must ultimately destroy all that is good and decent. Now, Hoover said it best. Hoover said it best that we would destroy ourselves and that the shadow government would destroy us for us. Hoover was one of the major reasons and one of the major pushes behind the destruction of the Central Intelligence Agency. J. Edgar Hoover hated the Central Intelligence Agency. Hated it. Hated it to its core. If you haven't studied up on J. Edgar Hoover, I suggest you do so. The guy was a brilliant man. He was an Intel guy before Intel even existed. This is a guy who had a safe full of our nation's secrets, and he held them dearly. He would never let those secrets out. He would never let those secrets out. He kept secrets on every major politician there was to safeguard them from the likes of rogue nations. J. Edgar Hoover, read up on him. A lot of people only know the conspiracy theories of like he was gay and stuff like that. Who cares? Read up on the man himself. The man was a legend. He was intel before intel even existed. He was crazy intel. That guy had more intel coming in than probably the CIA itself. Eisenhower also was against the Central Intelligence Agency. But think about it. Think about it. Just critically think. If you were the CIA and you wanted Trump gone, what better way than to fund operations on social media to destroy the Trump government through shit and shit? It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. It totally makes sense to me now that I'm starting to think about it. Totally makes sense. Absolutely, 100%, that would make sense to me. It would make sense to me more than anything else. It would make sense to me more than anything else. If you really critically think about it. If you really go through now the data, you're just mad. You're mad because you don't want it to be true. You don't want it to be true. I get that. Troll farms, exactly. It's no different than Russia. Exactly. Exactly. We must critically think and ask, is this a Central Intelligence Agency operation? Is this to make people subverted? Now let me ask all the QAnon believers in here, because I'm doing a series on this. I'm not attacking any QAnon believers. If QAnon told you to take arms tomorrow, would you take it serious? If QAnon made a post tomorrow and said, all Americans, arm up now, we must take to the streets, now is the time, fight for your country, how serious would QAnon followers take something like that? How serious would you take a post like that online? Would you take it as it means something else, or would you take that for what it was and just go right to it? And would you exit your front door thinking that you were going to defend the country from the deep state and the shadow government? I'm just asking. I'm just asking if you would. Would you do that? I don't know. It's up to you to answer. But I'm thinking there are a lot of people that would. No, I don't want a Jonestown moment from you. I'm asking you if you would take Q's word for it and actually take up a resistance to the government from a post. I'm not asking about a Jim Jones moment. I'm asking, how serious would you take that post? And how far would you be willing to take that post? That's all I'm saying. There are new posts about yellow vest protests today. Yeah, I saw that too. So I'm asking, if the Central Intelligence Agency wanted to make part of the populace take up arms to take our guns away, what better way to do it? Subvert you. They would subvert you through Q posts. That's all I'm saying. If I worked at the Central Intelligence Agency, and I wanted to manipulate you at this point, I think I could. I think I could manipulate a population that really believes in this. I'm just saying, it could be done. I'm not saying everybody would do it, but I'm saying there would be a bunch that would do it. All in one day. All in one day it would go down. I'm telling you, it would go down. There are people that believe this highly in this thing. So that's all I'm saying. So if it was the Central Intelligence Agency, all right, you're getting blocked, bud. It was nice knowing you. I'm glad I had you here, but I told you, man, I don't put up with horse shit. I don't care who you are. Thanks. It's time to go, buddy. Tell everybody goodbye in the room. We'll see you now. So that's all I'm saying. So if it was the Central Intelligence... Oh, it was good talking to you. So one thing I don't put up with horse shit. I'm just saying that if somebody wanted to manipulate somebody in a manner, they could. They could. And people don't like hearing that kind of reality about this. They don't. They don't like hearing about it. It's just another thought process. This is what I'm talking about with it too. If you give any kind of critical thinking or alternative thinking to anything about this shit, you become attacked, you become mauled, they just come at you. I mean, it's like the fucking zombie apocalypse if you piss these people off. It's like nothing I've ever seen before in my entire life. That's why I'm saying it's the Central fucking Intelligence Agency. They know what they're doing. They are subverting people. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind, because look how hard these people will defend it. It could come out tomorrow with a memo from the Central Intelligence Agency saying, yeah, we did it. These people would still deny it. They would be like, no, there's no way. It couldn't have happened to me. That just can't happen. With as much instigating and as much problematic that QAnon has been, why hasn't the government moved to shut it down? Here's another question I propose to the community. Why hasn't it been shut down unless it's a government-run operation by the Central Intelligence Agency? Why haven't they shut it down? Why? There's been numerous accounts of violence linked to it. Why hasn't the government moved to shut that down? They say they're part of the government. They're running themselves as an imposter of a government operation. Why haven't they shut it down? Unless it's a Central Intelligence Agency operation, and they can't shut it down because it's part of a black budget. These things can happen. These things can happen. You got to critically start thinking and asking yourselves, why haven't they shut this down? Why hasn't anybody stepped in? You can't ask one side of questions and not ask the other side of the questions. That's not critically thinking. That's coming to a one-sided answer. That's the problem here. Because you got to start asking yourselves other questions besides just the posts themselves. And some people can't handle it. I get that. They want it to be true. They want it to be larger than life. That's what they need. They need this. You're not getting it. It's never going to happen. This is a mind fuck through and through. I uploaded 2 documents tonight on PSYOPs run by the Central Intelligence Agencies. And you can read them. In there it tells you exactly how they do it, how they subvert a populace. Your theory is a bigger conspiracy than silly Q. How could it be? If you think that QAnon is part of the government, then why can't it be part of the CIA? Why can't it? Ask yourself, could it be? Could it be a CIA-run operation? Most certainly it could. Do you believe the Central Intelligence Agency runs operations? Do you believe the CIA runs black op operations? Do you believe the CIA has tried to overthrow governments? Do you believe that the CIA has tried to overthrow elections? Do you believe the CIA has kidnapped people? Do you believe the CIA has killed people? Do you believe the CIA has put people in place in foreign governments to give them information? If you believe all of those things, then you can probably believe what I just talked about. Now, what did Google? How did Google get its start? CIA. How did YouTube get its start? CIA. I just showed you the article. They fund all these tech startups. They give that money to all the tech startups. Imagine that. So we know CIA started Google. We know the CIA started YouTube. Now, why are they pushing all the Q propaganda? Ask yourself that. Why have they put it at the top of the food chain? Ask yourself that. Oh yeah, they have a large following. They have a large following, I'll give it that. They do. That's why it doesn't let up with giving up. Yes, exactly. In-Q-Tel was acquired by Google. I'm just asking you to critically think. Would the CIA, would the Central Intelligence Agency do something like this? Would it do something like this? That's all. And if you can say yes, then you can probably guess that it's probably going on. That's all I'm saying. I look at all aspects of everything. Another thing I found interesting, and you guys are going to find this interesting too. I started looking up all things Q CIA, so I found this also, which I found very amazing. Like, it was such a coincidence. No, that's not it. 1 second. Where is it? Hold on. 1 second, guys. You guys got to see this. This is the coolest thing I found. I started looking up things, but this is gonna blow your mind when I get this. All right, here it is. This is gonna blow your minds, man. This blew my mind. This blew my mind. This blew my mind. Hopefully you can see it. I'm trying to get it so you guys can see it. I might have to break it up. Hold on. Because I want you guys to see it. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Alright. So. Okay. Control. Oh, you guys gotta see this. It's the craziest thing I ever seen. Alright, let me get it bigger. I'll put it down here. So, how much water will flow off a 1 hectare construction site in a big storm? Okay, let me add this other part. It was weird that I found this, but I was like, because I started aggregating data for everything I could with anything Q equals CIA, but this was like, I was like, whoa. The answer can be found with Q equals CIA. Q equals flow rate. How crazy is that? I'm finding all these like weird connections like between like crazy shit, man. Like, what I do with stuff is I'll take something and I'll take all the data and I'll start aggregating it. I just started aggregating this stuff, so it's gonna be a while. I'm sure I'm gonna come up with a bunch more shit, but I like to go through all the data, right? So that's what I do. So I'll take something like WikiLeaks where they said Q is CIA. I was like, how much data can I set? So I start aggregating data and I start grabbing all the data from all over the web, you know, that's what I do. So all of a sudden I start finding all of these like links to like different it's disturbing, man. Like, I mean, hey, we gotta critically think here, right? So I'm critically thinking, you know, and I'm just saying, hey, could Q be the CIA? If you critically think about it, it sure can. I mean, they've already said they want something that can predict the future. The CIA is after some kind of program that will allow them to predict the future. Well, what is the QAnon stuff? What do they say? That future proves past. They can predict the future. That things are coming in the future. That, you know, so you see an article like that and you go, whoa, wait a minute here. Whoa. You know, so we know the CIA wants a program, wants an algorithm that can predict the future. That's crazy shit, right? Is that not a crazy coincidence? That is a crazy coincidence. And then this math problem. How much water will flow off a 1 hectare construction site in a big storm? The answer can be found Q equals CIA. Q equals flow rate. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. So I'm linking all this data back, you know. Do you talk to George Webb? I know George. I've talked. Yeah, we've had a couple conversations. But hey, you know, if you were the Central Intelligence Agency, if you were the Central Intelligence Agency and you wanted to subvert people and you wanted to cause problems, especially, imagine how many big conservatives, listen to this. Take a moment and step back and critically think. How many big conservatives have denounced Q and have been attacked viciously by conservatives for no reason except for saying that they don't believe in it? And I'm talking people like Jack Posobiec, Scott Adams, Lee Stranahan, all of these big conservatives that are very patriotic and very conservative. They've gone at them all, and when they denounce it or say, "Hey, I just don't believe in it," they get. I mean, it's almost like programming, right? When you think about it, it's like programming. Gorka too. It's almost like programming, right? Like pre-programmed, mind fucking that they just go right at these people. I've never seen anything like it. If you critically think about it, they pile on. It's like Night of the Living Dead. It's like The Walking Dead. It's like Z, that movie Z, where they're all running up the wall together. Think about it. It kind of creates H.A. Goodman to debate Dustin Nemo. Oh God, that's gonna go over like a fart in church. H.A. Goodman, he knows his shit. So anyway, this sounds like programming. How does it sound like programming? I'm just telling you to critically think about it. I'm not programming anyway. I'm just giving information and telling you to critically think for yourself. See, people don't like it. They're like, no, can't be. CIA would never do that. Oh, bet your ass they would, buddy. Give you a fucked up mind. Of course they did. CIA's been programming minds for the last 50 years. If you don't think they have, then, think about it, man. Imagine being able to program people from social media in a big test to see how good it works. It's working pretty fucking good if that's what it is. All I'm saying is that critically think. Critically think. Can it be done? Can it be done? They denied MK Ultra. That is true. See? That's right. See, Glevorkian knows. They did. They said for years, we don't know anything about MK Ultra. We have no idea. Later years came to be. MK Ultra, it existed. It existed in a bigger sense than anybody had ever thought. I'm glad you brought the MK Ultra up. I'm really glad you brought the MK Ultra up, because that MK Ultra, because they totally had denied that. They said, MK Ultra did not exist. What did those envelopes say in the Bush funeral? How the fuck do I know? They could have been Baskin Robbins ice cream gift certificates. Who knows? Who knows? See, that's the thing. What people do is they'll take a picture, and you can make anything. You can put any kind of... See, this is the power of the meme, too. The power of the meme is strong. You can take a picture, you can write words on it, and those words come to life. When they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, they're not kidding. They're not kidding. They totally mean that. That's why the meme is powerful. The meme is very powerful. The meme has been powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful tools on the internet is the meme. Believe it or not. A lot of studies have been done. So you can take any picture and you can just put words on it. And it could be a totally innocent picture. It could be a picture that totally has a different kind of meaning or a different kind of setting. And you can manipulate that with words. And people will read the words before they look at the picture. I'm not having any calls tonight. There's going to be no call-ins tonight. So there is, so there's a, you can totally manipulate with pictures. Oh yeah, Vault 7 did discuss using the meme. Absolutely. So the manipulation between pictures, it can be done. It can be done. Absolutely. We're just having a conversation. This is just all critical thinking. This is all critical thinking. That's all I'm saying is critical thinking. What are these memes you speak of? That's right, Bronco. Me and Bronco know all about memes. We do memes all the time. Who said Q had anything to do with funeral cards? I don't know. I didn't make... See, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I know there was a post about it. I mean, I can tell you here in a minute. Let's see. Let's go over to... Look here. Let's go over and look. Let's go over and look. I'm just telling people to critically think. Okay, let's see if that was mentioned. So, okay, so it did say something about the cards. What were in the envelopes? Our promise to counter. Now, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows what was in those envelopes. The only way to find out would be to ask one of the people that received an envelope, hey, what was in it? Who knows? Someone might ask, and they might show the envelope and be like, this is what was in it. It was a card. But people won't believe it anyway, even if they showed it, right? They'll just be like, yeah, replace what was in it. They don't want the world to know, you know. So it wouldn't matter if someone came forward with one of them envelopes and emptied it. Would it really? This is the narrative, though. This is the narrative that's been built, right? I mean, it wouldn't matter. They would just be like, oh, they switched it out. That's not what was there. This is how this works. This is how a psychological manipulation works. But I'm just throwing out critically think. Could the Central Intelligence Agency run a PSYOP this good and keep it flowing? That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying critically think about it. Critically think. What's happening with Assange? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with him, tell you the truth. You know, I don't know. It's up in the air, man. It's up in the air. That's up to the Ecuadorians and the United Kingdom, whatever agreement they make. We can't do anything about that, right? Bush Jr. passed Michelle crack. I mean, a piece of candy. The Hoover quote you shared earlier shook me up. Well, the Hoover was right. Hoover was a brilliant man. Hoover is one of my guys that I really think in history was a guy that really knew how to get shit done. I have a lot of respect for Hoover. Well, other people didn't, but I do. So I've read a lot on Hoover. Hoover's very good. But anyway, I just wanted to critically think about, could it be a PSYOP run by the Central Intelligence Agency? That's all I'm saying. And the only reason I dove into this subject tonight was because of Wikileaks. That's the only reason I even dove into it. I was like, Wikileaks kind of sparked my mind with it. And I said, well, could it be? Could it be? Could it be a PSYOP? You must ask yourself critical thinking. And you must ask yourself these questions. If you're not, that means you're pretty much a zombie now, and it doesn't matter what you're told. It doesn't matter what you're told if you can't critically think about it. I'm not saying it's going to change your mind. I'm just asking you, could it be done? And ask yourself those questions. Could they use a PSYOP such as QAnon on a populace to see if it'll work? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And it seems like WikiLeaks knows something about the Central Intelligence Agency doing things like that. So maybe we're going to hear about that in a later drop. I've always wondered if they had anything on the Arab Spring. We'll know if they do, right? Because they'll drop it. At some point they'll drop it. So if it ever comes out to be that the Arab Spring was a social media first try at subverting populations, then we'll know the answer to that they absolutely can do that. Maybe you're a PSYOP. I can assure you I'm not. I can assure you I'm not. I'm just a man who thinks for himself. And I'm not an Anon, so what am I going to PSYOP myself? Only way you PSYOP is if you're not known. It's the unknown. That's how PSYOPs, that's how they get away with it. It's the unknown. It's the not knowing. It's you don't know what it is, you don't know where it is, you don't know who it is, you don't know who they are, and you don't know why they're doing it. You just don't know. To this day, you don't know what QAnon, who they are, where they are, what they're doing. You don't know who they are. They could be sitting right at Langley. in the Central Intelligence Agency building posting. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. I'm just saying, you got to critically think about these things. Has anybody ever met them? Have you met them? Have they met them? Has anybody met them? That's all I'm saying. Is just critically think. I'm doing a whole series on this. Yeah. I'm thinking he is a Mockingbird Media. Who is? Oh, Mockingbird Media. Oh, Lord. I check Q out just seeing what say. I check Q out too. Don't get me wrong. I've been looking it over. Don't care. So you don't care if the CIA manipulates you? That's good to know. See, there's some people that believe so much in QAnon. If it was the CIA, they don't care that they're getting mind fucked. They're like, okay, just mind fuck me. It's okay. That's funny. That's pretty funny. See, people hate it when you question it, something. I question everything. You must question everything. You must. If you don't, you don't know what you're doing. You gotta question it all. Shit. Yeah, this guy is just... Yeah. I have to... Some people are so, like, gone, they're never gonna come back. Some people are just gone, man. They're just not coming back. They don't wanna be critically thinking. Hillary killed JFK Jr. Bizarre. Big government is bad, kids. So, tell me why Huber's not testifying tomorrow. Anybody know that? Anybody got a reason for him? Why didn't Huber go? If you don't question, you're a fool. That's right. That is right. So why didn't Huber show up? Q is waking the masses to think critically. Not really. I don't think so. I mean, there were truthers out there before Q. I wouldn't say it's waking anybody. All the conservatives have always been conservatives. What has it woken up? Except to be able to turn you in certain directions or make you to do things it wants, right? I mean, if you call that woke up, I call that manipulation in a sense. I don't call that waking. I call that directing. They want you to see certain things. They want you to do just certain things, right? When you really think about it. They don't allow you to critically think beyond that. What you need to do really is take all of the Q posts and think the opposite. And start doing it that way. Start doing what you think it might be and start doing what you think it might not be. To research. You can't use Google yourself. You need a crutch. Why would you need a crutch? Or someone to force feed you any information? You should want that information anyway. That's the thing I've said about the Q thing. Why would you need someone to give it to you when you can just go get it yourself? It's all out there to be had. And why are you limiting yourself to one set of information? That's what I'm saying. I get my information from all over the place. I just don't go to a one-stop shop. I go everywhere. Yes, disproves, proves. You know, you have to get your information from everywhere. You just can't go one place and go, okay, I'm on the Q board today. I think I'm not going to look at anything else in my life. I'm just going to totally go here. And then everything's going to be fine. I bet you didn't know this information. I bet you Q didn't put this one up. Here's something. I'm going to hit you with something right now, okay? This is why people don't critically think. You know who Michael Flynn is, right? You know who Michael Flynn is? He was the guy who was going to be the National Security Advisor. Well, when the Trump campaign was running, guess who was the head chairman of Trump's National Security Advisor Committee? Guess who was the head of that? Yeah, Jeff Sessions. Q's never posted that, but I'm gonna for you tonight. Now, why didn't Q post that Jeff Sessions was the head of the National Security Advisory Council? And if Flynn was calling Russia, why didn't Jeff Sessions tell him not to? Why didn't Jeff Sessions tell him not to? Since Jeff Sessions knows all about this and is going to drag down the deep state and all that, why didn't Jeff Sessions tell him not to in the first place? Can anybody answer that question? If we're going to critically think, can anybody tell me why? Because I've never heard Q talk about it. That's all I'm saying. But I'm saying I can critically think. I can critically think for myself and say, if Jeff Sessions was running the National Security Chairman Board for the Trump campaign, and he was the one who was directing everybody to do this, that, and another thing, then who do you think told Flynn to call the Russians? Who do you think told Flynn to do that? It would be Jeff Sessions, because he was the chairman. Just saying. Just saying, man. If they were on the same committee for that, who was the guy calling the shots? And here's another tidbit that I want to show you. Most of the people on this were congressmen and senators, including John Ashcroft, Charlie Glazer, Senator Joe Inhofe, Senator Bob Corker, Darrell Issa, Tom Cotton, Richard Burr, Mike McCall, KT McFarland, Rudy Giuliani, Jim Hoskins, Bob Magnus, Gary Harrell, Keith Hallag. I mean, so many big names there. But General Flynn is the one that's told to call Russia by Jeff Sessions. General Flynn is the guy that's picked. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, if we're going to critically think here, I'm just saying we have to critically think. Why didn't Sessions tell him not to? And remember, Sessions is the one who had the meeting with Kislyak. He had the meeting with him. He had the meeting with the ambassador right before Flynn called them. Right before Flynn called them, he had the meeting with the ambassador. Now, why did Sessions meet with the Russians? He's not going to tell the truth, but why did he? Let's be real. Why did Sessions meet with the Russians? It's known. It's known. It's not a hidden fact. It's actually a fact. It's not a lie. It's a fact. That Jeff Sessions met with Russians in the embassy. It's a fact. That's one reason why I don't believe in the slow walker routine. That's why I've never believed in it, because Jeff Sessions, and I'll pull it up on the screen here. Give me one moment. Give me one moment, because we're going to go through some stuff, right? I believe people should be red-pilled all the way around. Okay. One second. All right. There it is right there. Sessions discussed Trump campaign related matters with the Russian ambassador, U.S. intelligence intercepts show. That's Kislyak. Russian ambassador to the Washington told his superiors in Moscow that he discussed campaign-related matters, including policy issues important to Moscow, with Jeff Sessions during the 2016 presidential race, contrary to public assertions by embattled Attorney General, according to the current and former U.S. officials. Ambassador Sergei Kislyak accounts of 2 conversations with Sessions, then a top foreign policy advisor to the Republican candidate, Donald J. Trump, were intercepted by U.S. spy agencies which monitor the communications of senior Russian officials in the United States and in Russia. Sessions initially failed to disclose his contacts with Kislyak, and then said the meetings were not about the Trump campaign. One U.S. official said that Sessions, who testified that he had no recollection of an April encounter, has provided misleading statements that are contradicted by other evidence. A former official said that intelligence indicates that Sessions and Kislyak had a substantive conversations on matters including Trump's positions on Russia-related issues and prospects for Russian-related relations in the Trump administration. And this was early on. This was in 2017, July of 2017. So it's no secret that Sessions met with Kislyak. It's in several sources. I can pull up several sources. That's not the only one. I mean, that's just the first one. There's several sources out there. It's already been proven. It's in the Atlantic. It's in the Guardian. It's everywhere, man. It's in the Week. It's in USA Today. I mean, it's not a secret. Shit, it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. I can pull up Business Insider. It's in several outlets. I mean, come on, man. Just get your head out of the sand, man. Gotta get your head out the sand. I don't know why people do this, man. Hold on. Let's see. There it is. Business Insider. Same thing. Same thing. It's all out there, man. There's information everywhere. It's no secret that Sessions met with them. He even admits that he met with Kislyak. He even admits it. Then right after he recused himself. I gotta go! Right after he recuses himself. Was it illegal like Uranium One? Well, was it legal? You gotta ask yourself that question. It's not up for me to answer that question. Do I think Republicans and Democrats are both dirty? Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't trust either party. Never have, never will. I don't trust the Republican Party, and I don't trust the Democratic Party. I think they're both thick as thieves. I think they're one party. I think they're one party. I think each one hand washes the other. I always have. That's why nothing gets done in this country. That's why nothing gets done here. It's one hand washing the other. They're like twins. They're just twins. And they switch off every once in a while. They go, oh no, it's my turn, and then it's their turn, and then it's their turn. It never changes. That's why I don't trust any of them. I only trust Trump. He's the guy I said would throw a million wrenches in the system and break it. That's what that's all I'm counting on. You guys don't even know. I'm hoping Trump breaks the government. That's my absolute wish, is that Trump breaks the government and just destroys it. That's my hope. Because the only way that this government is ever going to be fixed is if it's totally stripped. If it's totally stripped down and rebuilt. On both sides. I don't believe in the Republican Party, and I don't believe in the Democratic Party. I just don't. I don't believe in the people that represent it. I just don't. I think they're both corrupt. I'm reading about the corruption. I'm reading about it in real time. More and more stories are coming out every day. North Carolina, voter fraud, Republican. Florida, voter fraud, Democrat. If you think both parties aren't got their hands in the jar, man, you ain't paying attention. You're not paying attention. The question you should have asked, if Trump asked us to go to arms tomorrow, we would. Well, I think anybody would. I mean, the president's a different guy, right? He's a real person. He's a real person. Absolutely. That's why I always say I believe everything the president says. I follow the president's word. That's the only word I take as serious. I always take his tweets serious. I take what he says to the American people serious. I take it all very serious. I don't take it as it's kabuki theater. I don't take it as it's some kind of show. I don't take it as it's a fucking Monday night movie. Every tweet he makes, I say, this is serious shit. You want to know why? Because he's a serious person and he's the president of the United States. I don't say he's fooling me. I don't say he's telling me this for my own good so I don't understand it. I say he's tweeting this is serious shit. That's why when he was bitching about Sessions, I couldn't believe all the Republicans that were like, oh, yeah, Sessions is working behind the scenes and he's cleaning everything up and this is all for kabuki theater because Trump has to make it look like it's going this way or that way. And I was just like, man, Trump's calling this guy a fucking retard and an asshole. That's why I never understood it. Trump straight up called him a retard and an asshole. Then he fired his ass. Then people thought Trump passed the baton. Here you go, Matthew. Take the baton in your hand and run with it. And now Matthew's going to take the baton and say, oh, William Barr, take the baton and run with it. I mean, really? I mean, come on. Do you really think that's going on? That's some kind of secret fucking operation being run by Jeff Sessions in his basement now? Yeah, come on. Jeff Sessions is an asshole. He'll go down as the worst fucking attorney general in history. Has Trump tweeted anymore tonight? I don't know. I just ask people that they got to critically think about things. No, he only tweeted once today. And how serious is today's shit? How serious is today's shit? You got to ask yourself. How serious is today's shit? Well, let me tell you, it's pretty fucking serious. I'm going to tell you why. Trump, his tweets weren't that bezzazzled today, right? They were just official tweets. Melania's going on Fox at 9. He wasn't serious today. That Cohen shit hit him hard. I don't care what anybody says. I know Trump's behavior and how he thinks. That shit hit him hard today. That Cohen shit hit him hard because he got stabbed in the back by someone who he thought was a trusted person. And then on top of that, he got stabbed in the back yet again by another good friend of his that runs the National Enquirer. So Trump has had two people that he thought were very entrusted, for years, right? You know, he trusted these guys, and he trusted one guy with his secrets, being the National Enquirer, and now they have gone belly up with the U.S. attorney, and it's the U.S. attorney from the Department of Justice, Trump's very own Department of Justice. So if you think Trump's not upset today, you are sadly mistaken. He's really upset because he wasn't expecting the National Enquirer a bit today. That's all new. And they have said that they'll cooperate with the Department of Justice with anything they want. So they're going to deliver all of Trump's goods, whether people like it or not. That shit all is getting turned over. And there's nothing Trump can do about it. He trusted the wrong people to hold his secrets. He trusted the wrong people to hold his secrets. As sad as we say. But more is going to come out, man. I'm telling you, man. And this is the one thing that's going to come out, and I'm waiting for it. I've done all the research on it, and I know I don't care. I don't care about this. But that Playboy bunny, and you all know about this Playboy bunny. You got these two Playboy bunnies. This shit's gonna come out. Don't anybody act surprised when it happens either. Don't you be all like, oh my god. It's gonna come out. So Elliot Brody paid for a Playboy bunny to have an abortion and then paid her off. He was supposed to pay her $1 million. Then this other bimbo was paid off $800,000. Now, what's worth more? A lady you just had an affair with, or a lady that had an abortion that you had an affair with and you paid for the abortion? And you're trying to get the evangelical vote. You're trying to get the Catholic vote. You're trying to get all the right to lifers. And if it was ever found out, that you knocked up a Playboy bunny and then she had an abortion with your kid, would it not kind of dismantle your voter base that you were trying to hold a secret with? Absolutely. So did Trump pay this woman $1.6 million? Was that the whole thing that was going to go down? I don't really care. I don't care personally, because I love Trump no matter what. I don't care who he screwed. That's his business. But I'm just saying, here's what I think went on. I think Trump and Melania, they like the Playboy Mansion. And I think they like the ladies. And I think they might have been just sexy. And that's their business. Hey, Brandon can't even take this in. He's like, no, I don't even want to think about it. So anyway, Brody says I knocked this girl up. He has no reason to lie. Have you seen his wife? His wife doesn't even care what the hell he's doing. His wife's fucking... The church will be brought down. Oh, the church? I believe in God, so... not all priests are pedophiles. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. I go to church, so let's not even go there. Our church actually, one thing I can tell you, my church that me and Meg go to, they actually talk about the abuse that's been done by the church. True story. You can ask Meg this. Yeah, the last couple times we've gone to church, they've actually been addressing that fact. They've actually been addressing that fact. So, you know, if you think the church isn't trying to, you know, at least rectify some of that situation. I've sat in church and heard them talk about it. I've heard them talk about it. And they've actually asked that, and they've actually apologized for all of the church at our church. Our priest, he was in the church and he said, I want to apologize for what has happened to children. So if you think that some priests aren't acknowledging it, they are. They are. All throughout the little churches are acknowledging it. And that's where it needs to be done. Is the little churches need to acknowledge it. But I'm just saying, back to what I was talking about. This one, Elliot Brody and the blonde, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. It's a matter of time. And I think that's what the National Enquirer is sitting on. Now, Trump didn't use campaign finance money for this one. He didn't use campaign finance for either two. The only one to use campaign finance money, and I've done research on it, is Elliot Brody. Elliot Brody had to leave the RNC because of it. That's when Michael Cohen was made the treasurer. Very interesting that after Brody left, Michael Cohen becomes the treasurer. Now, did Michael Cohen cook the books? I don't know. What did Michael Cohen do? I don't know. It's really none of my business. Who is Brody? Brody is an RNC guy. He was actually helped raise campaign money for Trump. And he was caught up in a scandal with a Playboy bunny where he said he knocked one up and he was paying her off. But there's a lot of people out there, both Republican and Democrat, that think it was a Trump affair. Which is nothing wrong with it. I don't care. I still like Trump no matter what, even if it was. But everything points to that. Everything points to a Trump affair, but I think they wanted to hide it because Trump didn't want to lose the right to life vote. So that was one of the things, was that they were worried if this came out, if it was him, that this would destroy the right to life vote, and he had already secured all their votes, and if they were to find out at the time of the election, they would have all voted another way. They would have gone independent or whatever. They would have ran away from it. Them guys don't fuck around, those right to lifers, and they got a lot of them. A lot of people are in the right to life movement. I can tell you that. It's probably bigger than the Tea Party. If not, I think it is bigger than the Tea Party. There's a lot of people in the right to life movement, and a lot of money. A lot of money in the right to life movement. I've been to a right to life march. It's huge. It's freaking huge. I'm not kidding. Thousands and thousands of people. No, his affairs didn't cost us any money. No. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I just think it's a scandal that he didn't want out. You know, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. Right to life is huge. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I was glad talking to everybody. This is a good scope. I just say always critically think. And WikiLeaks made me want to do a scope about it. So I just do scopes, man. And I tell people critically think. I'm not bashing anybody or bashing anybody. I'm just asking you to critically think. And the scope will stay up. It's just a critically thinking scope. Could it be a CIA op? You know, you just gotta critically think over things. And more than likely it's not. But I'm just saying, you gotta critically think about it. That's all.